Alright, today we're going to take a look at a genuine US MRE. This is a menu that I've actually had before. It's menu number 19, Beef Patty, Jalapeno Pepper Jack. This one was introduced in 2013, and about 5 years ago, in 2014, I did a review of one from 2013, the first year of production. This one has a date code on it of 4086, meaning that it was packaged on the 86th day of 2014. So this one is only a year later than the last one I did, so the contents are probably going to be mostly the same, but it was something I thought was worth revisiting. And it's something I kind of want to do as something sort of special for Memorial Day. And of course, Memorial Day is meant to be kind of a somber holiday. It's a day to remember soldiers that have died in combat. It's been changed over the years, and now it's always on a Monday, and part of the reason for that is to make it a 3-day weekend. And I'll admit that I've been as guilty as anyone else as far as enjoying that day off and kind of forgetting the true meaning from time to time. In the US, Memorial Day for many years has been looked at as kind of the unofficial start to summer. And a lot of times people will have barbecues on that day and just enjoy the nice weather after a long winter. So I thought this was kind of an appropriate way to celebrate both the true meaning of Memorial Day and also the summer aspect, because the Beef Patty Jalapeno Pepper Jack is basically going to be like a cheeseburger. So in a way, it's kind of like a barbecue in a bag. So anyway, let's go ahead and check this one out. As I said, it's menu number 19, Beef Patty Jalapeno Pepper Jack from 2014, and it's from Sapaco. Let's see what's inside of this one. Here we have our beef patty grilled jalapeno pepper jack's flavor. There's a date code on it of 4050, 50th day of 2014, and we have I guess this is the cardboard sleeve for that. So in this one we have all the ingredients. There's a lot of ingredients in this, and also the nutrition facts. See, this is one of the smaller entrees. It's only 2.6 ounces, and not a very large entree at all. And as a side, which I guess is basically actually the dessert, we have a cherry blueberry cobbler. And here's the information on that in this little piece of cardboard. You have the ingredients for that, and the nutrition facts. And this one was packed on the 72nd day of 2014, day code of 4072. We also have something's a little bit greasy in here. It looks like this. No, that's unfortunate. It looks like the cheese spread may have leaked. Yeah, it's very greasy. It must be coming from that. Alright, well, that's unfortunate. I thought this was going to be in good shape. And we have wheat snack bread twin pack. This is a great invention. They used to put with a lot of these little things that could be made into a sandwich, they used to give you 2 wheat snack breads. And that was a lot of dry food to be eating, and it would make you really thirsty. Kind of hard to eat. So with these twin packs, you're basically getting about the same that you get with one piece of wheat snack bread, but it's sliced in half and they're thinner. A lot better for sandwich. This is a date code of 4014, January 14th, 2014. And to put on that, we have cheese spread. And hopefully this is going to be okay. As I said, obviously it's leaking somewhere. It's got a lot of oil coming out of there. We have a chocolate chip cookie, cocoa beverage powder, flameless ration heater, our standard spoon, and an accessory pack. It's going to be sort of an interesting one. BKM. Actually, you know what it is. I think the KM stands for ketchup and mustard. 4033 on that. So this one is going to include, actually it's not going to include coffee. That's something that's not in here. But it does have a lemonade beverage-based powder in one of these little tubes that's meant for a bottle of water. Salt, toilet paper, moist towelette, chewing gum, a little bit beat up, and these interesting packets of ketchup and mustard for your burger. These have date codes on them too, 4003 and 4028. Alright, here's everything that we're getting in this menu number 19. It's not really the most comprehensive of MREs. It's kind of light on the components. As I mentioned, the main is only 2.6 ounces, so it's quite a bit smaller than the standard 8-ounce main that we're used to seeing. And if you make this up as a burger, which is what we're going to do, it's actually not really going to take up a lot of space on the tray. If you'd have the beef patty on its own as the entree, and on the side have the wheat snack bread with the cheese spread, it almost makes it seem like a bigger meal. Obviously you're eating the same amount of stuff, but just visual-wise. And the other interesting thing is that this is the kind of meal that, for the most part, you can eat on the run. It's almost like part of a first strike ration. If you make up your burger, you can eat that, and you have your chocolate chip cookie, you have your beverage that you can drink right out of the pouch. And about the only thing that's really an exception to that is the cherry blueberry cobbler, which is about the only thing in here that you really need a spoon for. Let's go ahead and check it out. Actually, another interesting thing about this menu is that it's one of the few that doesn't have a hot beverage bag. It almost seems like an oversight. It almost seems like they forgot to put it in. But obviously some thought did go into the decision to not put one in there. First off, we don't have any coffee in the accessory pack, so there's no need for a hot beverage bag to mix that up in. Second, the cocoa beverage powder comes in its own contour pouch that you can mix it up right in that. And then the other beverage is the lemonade, but this pack, of course, is meant to go into a bottle of water, so you wouldn't necessarily need a hot beverage bag to mix it up in. I'm going to go ahead and heat up the beef patty. And since this is a small entree, I'm going to attempt to also heat up the cherry blueberry cobbler once we get the heater activated. Of course, this is a 5-year-old Flemish ration heater, so we may need to add some salt. But I'm going to activate it first, or attempt to activate it first, just so we can see how well this Flemish ration heater stood the test of time. The water into the elements and see if we can get this to activate. Alright, that actually activated within a few seconds and started up almost right away, and it's giving off some really good heat. So I'm going to go ahead and put this into the sleeve. And rather than mess with trying to put a second pouch into the Flemish ration heater, I'm just going to actually put the cobbler on the other side of the heating elements outside of the Flemish ration heater. And we'll give that about 10-15 minutes to heat up. Okay, and it should actually be pretty quick to plate this. Most of the stuff is going to be in the Flemish ration heater. Here's our real dessert, the chocolate chip cookie, which is one big chocolate chip cookie. One thing I didn't mention is that this MRE, I got this off of eBay, and it came from Fort Irwin, California. So obviously this came from a military base. And the thing that's kind of scary about getting a 5-year-old MRE from that environment is the fact that most of Fort Irwin is basically in the desert. So there's no really way to tell how this was stored, so I'm hoping it's going to be okay. But here's the cookie anyway. And the last time I reviewed this menu, I do remember I put the cobbler in this compartment. It kind of seemed like where it should go, but the cookie is just so perfectly made for this compartment, I just had to put it in there. Here's the ketchup and mustard for our burger. And here's the cheese spread. Give this a good knead. I did clean this up as much as I could. It had been all greasy and oily. And I don't see any area where oil is escaping, but it really doesn't need a very big pinhole if it's going to come out over a period of 5 years. So hopefully this is going to be okay. We'll find out. And then we have our wheat snack bread twin pack, which of course is going to be for the burger. But we'll go ahead and take these out of here. You can see how thin they are. Basically about the thickness of a standard wheat snack bread. It's kind of funny that they're put in head to toe like this. And basically we just have a couple beverages in very different sized pouches. Cocoa beverage powder is going to take 6 ounces of water. Of course, this can be hot or cold. I'm going with cold. Give that a good shake. An old classic. And of course, as mentioned, the lemonade beverage base calls for 20 ounces of water. Ah, this actually has caked up. I didn't realize that. So that would seem to be an indication of if it's not being stored perfectly well. You wouldn't really expect a beverage-based powder to cake up after 5 years. It doesn't really come across as the most vulnerable component in here. shake. One of the nice things about these water bottle pouches is that they're really small, but they give you 20 ounces, which is more than the 12 ounces that you usually get in standard MRE beverage-based powders. Alright, and that flameless ration heater seemed to work quite well. I actually moved the cobbler around. This is the first time I've ever had one of these warm. I've always just had them cold. And I also threw the cheese spread in there for a couple minutes just to heat that up a little bit. But there's still a lot of heat in there. And these things are very hot. It's really good to see. We'll start off with the cobbler. This actually goes across the long way, which is pretty good for if you're going to be eating it out of the pouch. As I said, most of this meal seems to be good for eating on the run. Yeah, it smells good. It almost smells like a... You know, it actually almost smells like it's fermenting a little bit. I hope it's okay. Alright, now it's time to make up our cheeseburger. There it is in here. I can see some of the peppers on there right away. And there's a little bit of juice in here. I usually just pour this right into the tray, but since we're really doing the burger thing this time, I'm just going to put it right onto our wheat snack bread. And there's no reason to waste this. I'll just go ahead and drink this. It's actually kind of a nice little appetizer. It's definitely got some kick to it. Alright, and let's dress that up a little bit with some cheese and some ketchup and mustard. I'm sure that's partially because of the fact that I heated it, but it's not really a great consistency on that cheese. I did knead it before heating it, and kneaded it some more after, and it kind of has this sort of clotted, clumpy look to it. But it seems to taste okay. Hopefully it's alright. The Heinz ketchup and the Heinz mustard. Yeah, it's sort of too bad that it wasn't cheese spread with bacon, because then it could have been a bacon cheeseburger. But that's alright. Alright, I think you can kind of see what I was talking about when I said this is kind of a sparse meal. If you do go ahead and make the cheeseburger, you have your wheat snack bread, your beef patty, and a bunch of the condiments all in one spot. So it really doesn't take up much space. And then you just have the cookie, the cobbler, and that's really all there is to eat, and then 2 beverages. So you can see even with putting the 2 beverages on the tray, you can fit everything right onto the tray. And of course there is the gum too. Let's go ahead and try this out. One last look before we put the cover on. Of course the problem with this is everything does kind of get smushed out the sides when you put the top wheat snack bread on. But there's our jalapeno cheeseburger. And you know what, I actually did want to try the beef patty on its own before we start. Almost forgot to do that. Yeah, but that's good. It's very similar to the old beef patty, obviously. It's basically the same thing with a bunch of stuff added. And when you first bite into it, that's what it tastes like. And then you get that kick from the jalapeno pepper jack. And it definitely does have some kick to it. Let's try this out. Yeah, that's pretty good. Wheat snack bread definitely is not a hamburger bun. And it does taste like that wheat snack bread taste, but the fact that it's these 2 thin ones, is, like I said, it's a lot better than having 2 full-size wheat snack breads. You can kind of see in there, you can see how processed that beef is, but it's a little juicy, and it's got the peppers hanging out in there. And so we have our cheese and ketchup and mustard. It's pretty good, it's pretty tasty. This is one that won't be hard to finish since it's not really all that large. but I suppose we should check everything else out before we do finish this up. Since the cobbler is heated, I do want to get to that before it gets too cold. And it does have basically like a crust, the part that makes it a cobbler. I think that's what this is. This could be, I don't know, it's hard to tell. Everything kind of looks the same. But I think we get some of the little cobbler part in here along with some of the berries. Give that a try. That's pretty good. It does seem like it may be getting towards the end of its life. It's starting to show some signs of tasting a little bit off, like it's, like as I said before, almost like it's starting to ferment a little bit, but it doesn't seem to be bad. I don't think it makes too much of a difference if you heat this up or not. I thought this was fine cold, and it's almost a little bit less runny when it's cold. But it is nice having a warm dessert. Of course, as I said, this is basically, if you do this as a burger, the only thing you need a spoon for. Let's try this old standby, the cocoa beverage powder. And that's always good. It's pretty standard, kind of plain. Basically, if you have it cold like this, it tastes like chocolate milk. If you have it hot, it tastes like hot cocoa. And that leads us to our other dessert, the cookie. I'm just going to be, these already broken up here. You can see it's got some pretty good chunks of chocolate in there. And that certainly seems to taste fresh for being 5 years old. It's got plenty of crunch left to it. This is a little bit crumbly, but yeah, it's a good view of the chocolate you're getting with this. Pretty generous. And it does seem worth dipping this a little bit extra chocolate. Doesn't hurt. Yep, that's a nice touch too. And then the lemonade. I always find it nice when they give you lemonade. It's kind of something a little bit different. So used to getting the lemon lime, the orange, the grape, the fruit punch. Lemonade just gives you something that's a little bit different. And it's not all that great. I mean, it does taste like a lemonade from a mix, which is what it is, from a powder. But it's not really terribly refreshing. It seems to have quite a little bit of the packaging taste, maybe a little bit. I guess overall, the thing to report, this has been a good meal, but it does seem like everything may be suffering a little bit from the age. It's 5 years old, which shouldn't be a huge problem. Like I said, as far as I know, it was stored in desert-like conditions, and I don't know how well it was stored, but there does seem to be minor signs indicating that. One of the things they say about MREs is that they don't necessarily go bad, they're not necessarily bad for you and won't make you sick, but they do start to suffer a loss of taste quality over time. And that's why they have the inspection date after 3 years. You're supposed to try them out, make sure everything's okay. The burger seems to be fine, or the beef patty seems to be fine, but the cheese spread, like I said, it's a little bit on the clumpy side. It seems like that might be getting towards the end of its life. And it's almost like a lot of these things are showing some signs of age. The cheese is really the only thing wrong with this. The cookie tastes fine, but just the fact that it's crumbling like this, it seems like it's showing some signs of age. And the cobbler, I can't really tell. I think it's fine, but it just doesn't taste totally fresh. It tastes a little bit like something's going on there. And actually the same thing with the lemonade. You wouldn't really expect a problem with a beverage-based powder. But as I said, the powder was kind of solid in the little pouch there, so, you know, whatever that says. And the cocoa beverage seems to be just fine. It seems like the thing that's withstood the test of time the best overall. But overall, everything seems to be pretty good. It's certainly edible. And I'm going to go ahead and finish up this burger and everything else here, except possibly the cobbler. And I do want to wish everybody a happy Memorial Day. Please remember those who have given the ultimate sacrifice while you're enjoying your day off. And thank you for watching.